This video is going to show you how to create different types of questions and that are placed in what is called your question bank. And then you, when you create a quiz, you can then just pull questions from the question bank and make your quiz very, very fast. So I'm on the main page of the course, and under the navigation I'm going to go scroll down to the settings section and click on question bank. One of the things that you're probably going to want to do is to organize your questions into categories. And think of them as like, chapter 1, chapter 2 questions. So questions that you create that are from chapter 1, you would put in the category of chapter 1 and so on and so forth. So if you click on categories, you can see that I've already set up two different categories. One's called chapter 1 questions, one's called chapter 2. And I'm just going to add a third one here, chapter 3 questions. I could give it a description, and you can see in the above examples I have a description. So this is where you would put questions for chapter 3. And then you would just say add category. It's going to add that category now, and you can add a fourth one, a fifth one, and so you can create these categories or these folders, if you will, for the various types of questions you're going to have. Once you've done that, then you can go back to your question bank, or just click on the questions there, and you can see that I have several questions already set up. In the sample quiz that's on the course page, what I did was I tried to create a sample quiz that just had one type of every question that I'm familiar with, and probably the most common types that most teachers are going to use. But I'm going to just show you how to add. I'm going to start with a true and false question. So I'm going to say create a new question, and you can see there's all kinds of different choices here. And if you click on one, you'll get a short, brief description over here to the side that kind of tells you what type of question it is. So I'm going to start with a true and false question. And it's then going to ask you what category do you want to put it in. So let's say I'm going to put it in chapter 2 questions. And then I'm just going to call it, and the question name is only for you. So this is so that you know what the question is about. It's not going to show up on your quiz. It's not for the student. It's for you. So I'll just call it sample true false question. And in the question text, this is where you would put a true or false question. And I'll just say, is the Pope Catholic? And you can put some overall general feedback, but I'm just going to leave that blank. But I'm going to choose which is the correct answer. So the Pope is Catholic, so I'm going to change it to true. And then this feedback section is only, it's what the student's going to see if they get it right. For the true response, this is the feedback, and then you can see there's another box here for the feedback for the response. So for the true, since that is the correct one, I'm going to say nice job. And for the false, I'm going to say you're an idiot, go to church, since that is the wrong answer. And at that point, I'm just going to hit save. And so now you're going to see that I have that true or false question that has shown up. The next question that we're going to do is a multiple choice. So I'm going to create a new question. I'm going to choose multiple choice. And again, I'm going to choose what category I want that question to be in. And so I'm going to just dump it into chapter 2 again, and I'm going to call it sample multiple choice. And so here I'm going to create a question that has several choices. Let's see. I'll just say what is the name of the principal at St. John's High School? So, and it's a question, so I should put a question mark. So now, here's a couple things. One is that you can choose that there's just one right answer, or maybe there's more than one right answer. Since there's only one high school principal, I'm going to leave that set as one answer. The other thing is that you can shuffle the choices within the question. So as you create all of the different choices, every time you view the quiz, the right answer might be A on one person's quiz, it might be B on another person's quiz. It's just going to randomly shuffle those, which is a nice little feature. So I leave that box checked. The other thing you can do is you can change the way in which the choices are listed, whether you want it ABC in lowercase, ABC in uppercase. You can number them 1, 2, 3, Roman numerals, or you don't have to use the numbering at all. So I'm just going to leave it as the ABC. And as I create this, I always make choice 1 my right answer. That way I don't forget to mark it as the correct answer. Since I'm shuffling it, it doesn't matter that choice 1 is the right answer. So I'm going to put the right answer, which is obviously Mark Palmer. And this is the most important thing here, is you have to designate one of your choices as the correct answer. So I'm going to choose the grade as 100%. Because this is the correct answer, and they're going to get full credit for that. You could set up partial credit for each, for some answers. So, for example, let's say in math, the question, you had to first solve for x, and then you had to take the x value and plug it into the equation and get the answer. But some students oftentimes will solve for x, and then they stop right there. So, as a teacher, you might want to say, well, yeah, you're partway there. So if they choose the answer that's just the x value, we'll give them half credit. But to get the full credit, they had to actually plug in the x value. So you might, that's just an example of how you might use partial credit on a multiple choice. The feedback section here, again, that's just where you can put some, comment if they get it right, but that is obviously not a requirement, and it would take a lot of time to write feedback for every choice here. So let me just put in some of the wrong answers in here. So choice 2, I'm going to put, Mark Horak. Choice 3, and you'll notice the grade for Mark Horak, I'm just going to leave as none. You don't have to choose it as 0. Choice 3, I'm going to put Mark Cascarella. Choice 4, which probably really is the right answer, Rhonda Gingrich. And you've got choice 5. You could have as many choices as you want to have, because they give you, the default is that they give you 5 choices, but you can always add blanks for 3 more choices. So you could have 8 choices. You could have 9 choices. If I leave this 5th one blank, it's only going to show my first 4 choices, which is what I'm going to do. Now, you can have set up penalties for if you allow multiple attempts at each question. The default on that is 33%. And so you could, say, well, every time they get it wrong, they're going to lose half their points. I'm just going to set it to 0. But this is a required section here. It's got the asterisk, so you have to do that. You could set up hints, and honestly, I'm not quite familiar with the hint section here, so I just skip over that, and then I get down to save changes. And I save the changes, and now I've got 2 questions in here. If I ever want to edit one of my questions, I can always just come in here and click on the little hand, which is edit. But I also can hit the magnifying glass, and I can preview the question. And so the multiple choice question that we just created, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So here it is. What is the name of the principal? And it shows you the choices. And you can see that it shuffled the choices because I had typed choice 1 was Mark Palmer, and you can see that he's showing up as number 2 on here, and that's going to change every time you view that. And I'm going to see if it's going to, if I close that and I click on it again, if it's rearranged the choices, and it rearranged them slightly. And so again, I'm going to do that and show you that, boom, it's rearranging them every time. So this, you've got the different types of questions in a question bank. And again, when you click on create question, you have multiple different types of questions. So I'm going to do one more, which is a short answer question. And so I'm going to say next, and I'm going to just call it a sample short answer question. And I'm going to say, what is the capital of Michigan? And you can see that the default mark, I didn't talk about this on the other ones, the default mark is how many points do you want that to be worth. And you can change that at later times. But now I come down here, and it says, under the correct answers, you must provide at least one possible answer. Answers that are left blank will not be used. An asterisk can be used as a wild card to match any characters. That's kind of more advanced than where we're at right now. So I'm just going to type the one answer that we have, and that is Lansing. And you'll notice I capitalized the L in Lansing because it's a city. We always capitalize that. But the common question you're going to have is, well, what if a student doesn't capitalize? And you can see up just above here, it says case sensitivity. And it's default to no. So they can use uppercase, they can use lowercase, but they do have to spell it correctly. That is one of the issues about a short answer question, is that they do have to spell it correctly, which can be a problem for some of our bad speller students. But this is the correct answer, so I'm going to choose the grade as 100%, and I'm going to save this question. And you can see that there's multiple answers. The penalty is 33.3%. Again, you can change that, but if you don't allow multiple tries on your question, your quiz, that the penalty is not going to come into play in that. So I'm just going to say save changes at the end, and I'm going to show you what that question looks like, the sample short answer. Here's the preview, and you can see it just gives them a small box to type their answer. So those are kind of the basic structures of questions. In this, obviously, if you're typing and creating all of these questions manually, it is cumbersome to do. But the nice thing about some of the textbooks that we have, you get the ExamView software where you can create an exam in the ExamView software. You can then export that test that you create in ExamView and import it into Moodle, and all of those questions are automatically created for you, and it is a huge time saver. So that's kind of the introduction to creating questions in a question bank that can then later be used to put into a quiz. So to create a quiz, make sure you click on the link that says, how to create a quiz, and I'll show you how to take these questions that we've just created and pull them into a quiz.